Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Jackson Street Storm System Phase 2 public meeting. I appreciate your attendance today. Hopefully we can walk through some aspects of this project and answer some questions at the end. Kind of the agenda of the meeting, as you can see on the screen, we'll go through some quick team introductions from the city and our contractor. We'll get into some of the project details, a timeline of the project, some impacts that should be expected as the project goes, detour routes to work around street closures. We'll discuss how to stay informed on project updates and how to communicate with the project team. And then lastly, we'll get into questions. There is a Q&A format that you should be able to, at any point during the presentation, type questions in. If it's something that our moderators can answer during the presentation, we will provide an answer in the Q&A section. And if it's something that we need to address verbally, we will just kind of queue those questions until the end of the presentation and work through those answers. Sometimes there are some questions that get asked that we may not necessarily have an answer immediately on hand for. If that's the case, we will just kind of ask you to send your question into our project email account, and then we can respond to that question directly to you. Moving on, we'll jump into the project team. My name is Matt Ferris, and I am the project manager for the City of Denver in the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. We also have on board here Brandon Wilkinson, and he is a senior project manager with Iron Woman Construction. They are the contractor that won the bid for this Jackson Phase 2 contract. Just some of the project stakeholders, in addition to City of Denver and Iron Woman, just because of the location of this project, we're working quite closely with National Jewish Health, also with a lot of the utility companies that are working with us to relocate utilities to make some additional room in the street, in the roadway for this new infrastructure, including Denver Water, Xcel Energy, Crown Castle, Verizon. And then we also have our public information firm that's on board to help us spread the word about this project and communicate with the constituents of Denver, and that's Ocean Girl Design. And then the Icon Engineering worked with the City of Denver in a partnership to engineer this project. Okay, so what is this project? What are we talking about here? This is a storm sewer project. It is the second phase of the first phase that was completed a couple of years ago, that actually tied into an existing storm sewer system in Jackson Street, crossed over Colfax, went into 14th Avenue and ended there. So we are picking it up from there at 14th Avenue, just to the east of Jackson Street, and we're taking it from there. It is the reason for the project is to better manage and improve flood mitigation during heavy rainstorms. There is an open cut portion of this project, meaning part of it you'll actually see a large trench excavation dug in the earth with placing new pipe inside of it. And there's also a tunneling aspect of this project where we're actually going to tunnel side by side 83-inch pipes underneath Colorado Boulevard in order to limit the best we can any impact to Colorado Boulevard and traffic on Colorado Boulevard. This project also includes some pedestrian and intersection improvements. It's adding inlets at the 14th Avenue and Harrison intersection, as well as the 13th Avenue and Colorado Boulevard. intersection to help reduce local flooding at those areas. Here's a little better understanding of exactly where this project is. As I mentioned, that phase 1 portion of it is complete. We are picking up kind of where the green dots are on the map on the screen. We're running down 14th Avenue from Jackson to just beyond Harrison. From there, our new infrastructure will jump into a retention pond area on the south side of 14th there. We will tunnel underneath Colorado Boulevard, and then after we're complete with the tunnel, we will run new storm sewer pipe down the east side of Colorado Boulevard, not actually in Colorado Boulevard itself, but running down the right of way on the east side. And this phase of the project will end right in 13th Avenue. We will get out into 13th Avenue and get off of the agreed upon utility easement with National Jewish Hospital, and we'll end phase 2 at that point. There will be future phase 3 and other phases coming that will eventually lead to rectifying some major flooding issues in the Hale Parkway area. Okay, kind of talking about the why of this project. This map that you are looking at here is kind of it's a flow depth map of during heavy rain events, kind of showing where water ponds and causes issues to infrastructure, to travel, to personal properties, and just creating a safety hazard for the areas. As you can see on this, there is some pretty significant flooding in the Harrison area that's shown in pink there. And then also up to 1.5 to 3 feet of flooding, kind of just running down Harrison in the Jackson 14th area, and then hopping over into the 13th Avenue and Albion intersections. What you're not seeing on this map, as you continue to work east towards Hale Parkway, that flooding again gets into the deeper pink, red areas. And ultimately, that's what this the multiple phases of this project is working to rectify. Here's a picture from a rainstorm in 2015 that this is actually looking out of a window in National Jewish Hospital of 14th Avenue, kind of right in between Jackson and Harrison Street. And as you can see from that car there, there's a significant ponding, flooding that occurs in this roadway, kind of backing up the information and the data that we have on that previous map. Okay, getting into the timing of this project, the project itself is slated to begin here coming up in a handful of weeks in December of 23. It's going to last for just over 1 year in its entirety. It's anticipated to have a completion date in January of 2025. A couple of other items in addition to flood mitigation, this project will also bring some pedestrian improvements along Colorado Boulevard, specifically along the east side of Colorado Boulevard. If you're a user of that sidewalk and that pedestrian walkway currently, that walkway is tight right up against the edge of Colorado Boulevard. You're kind of pinned in there with a retaining wall as you're working south towards 13th Avenue. So this project will get rid of that retaining wall, get rid of the sidewalk that's tight adjacent to Colorado Boulevard. And when everything's all said and done, there will be an 8-foot wide tree lawn area where an amenity zone. There's a bus stop will be in there. Some trees and shrub plantings will be along Colorado Boulevard, and that will help separate and protect a new 8-foot wide sidewalk that's going in on the east side of Colorado Boulevard. So there will be a protected sidewalk on the east side of Colorado Boulevard, and kind of a very similar thing on the north side of 13th Avenue. It'll just be a 5-foot wide sidewalk on the north side of 13th. And then with that being said, there'll kind of be some pedestrian improvements to being able to cross 14th Avenue as well. Okay, getting a little bit more into the timeline, I'm going to go ahead and kick this over to Brandon with Iron Women Construction, and kind of let him talk through a little more specifics of their approach, a high-level summary of kind of their approach and what to expect as far as the timing of things. Brandon?
Thanks, Matt. So we are getting started in December. Like Matt said, we're going to start on 14th Avenue. We'll be shutting down 14th Avenue from Jackson to Colorado. That closure will last into about April, into the spring. We'll still be south of 14th there in the detention pond, probably for a couple more months before we get across Colorado to the east side. So we're looking at being on the east side of Colorado sometime around summer of next year. And then we'll be working our way down Colorado towards 13th into fall, winter of next year, and finishing up early 2025. We will have 13th Avenue shut down as well in the probably early to late fall next year to get the pipe into that street there, and that'll be approximately a 2-month closure there. We'll also have some intermittent work along Colorado Boulevard on the east side, putting in the new tree lawn and the sidewalk and bus stop. So there will be some single lane closures throughout the project on Colorado Boulevard as well.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. Another thing to kind of just mention, I know we're talking about a full closure of 14th Avenue starting in December, but between now and then, you may notice there's some tree removals we have to do and some utility verifications, both in 14th Avenue and Colorado Boulevard. So you may see some single lane closures between now and the December timeframe that we mentioned there. Travel impact. So obviously with the closure of a arterial street like 14th Avenue, and then towards the tail end of the project, 13th Avenue, there will be some definite travel impacts that are going to affect Congress Park and the Hale neighborhoods, as well as traveling public. As we talked about, 14th Avenue is going to be shut down between Jackson and Colorado for approximately 4 months. We just mentioned all of this, but there will be some intermittent single lane closures on Colorado Boulevard as we're tunneling under it, and as we're working through some of the amenity zone items along the curb line on the east side of Colorado. And then also 13th Avenue, a full closure for 2 months in the fall of 24. What are we doing to help mitigate the travel impacts? Traffic detour signs and message boards will be in place throughout the duration of the project to help the traveling public work around the closures. Pedestrian detours will be clearly marked and easily accessible. We will have, for a long period of time, the sidewalk on the east side of Colorado Boulevard will be shut down. There will we will never have the sidewalk on the west side of Colorado Boulevard in between 13th and 14th shut down. So we will be detouring pedestrian traffic to the west side of Colorado Boulevard during that time period. We will also be updating impact and detour maps and including them in our weekly email construction updates and placing those on the project webpage. And here at the end of the project, or end of the presentation, we'll go over how to access that information. Specifically talking for the full closure of 14th Avenue in between Jackson and Colorado, that's going to start in the December 23 time period. The actual detour for this is all the way back at Josephine. So we will be working to rebuild or kind of reform that intersection to only allow one lane of traffic to make it through, and advertise that. Really, it's just, and anybody proceeding east on 14th Avenue should either live in the streets in the neighborhood in between Josephine and Jackson, or have business there, or deliveries, whatnot. Also, National Jewish Health Hospital access will be allowed through that intersection, but all commuting traffic will be forced to turn north on Josephine, and the detour route will take them up to 17th Avenue, work down 17th Avenue to Colorado Boulevard, and from there head south on Colorado Boulevard to be able to get back on 14th Avenue and continue along their way to the east. We are still working with the city's traffic engineering office to finalize the detour that's going to be posted for the 13th Avenue closure. Again, that's not until fall of 24, so we will have that worked through with the contractor and the city traffic engineer, and make sure that we're prepared for that and advertise that information to the general public as we get it. Moving into kind of how to stay informed and how to access our project's information. We have a couple of different ways. We have set up a project-specific email address that you can send emails to. That you can see that here. It is info@jacksonstreetstorm.com, and we encourage you, if you haven't already yet, you definitely can sign up, send us an email, ask us to be put onto a list that will get weekly email updates, kind of just updating what happened this last week on the construction project. We'll have pictures on there if that stuff interests you. And then we will also provide information on there on anything that's kind of changing in the coming week or the coming weeks, specifically anything that's changing as far as detours for vehicles, detours for pedestrians. Just really want to try to do the best that we can to update the community and keep you guys informed. Also, if there's any specific questions for us, comments, concerns, please just send us an email. That's really one of the better ways to get a hold of us. And we have a whole project team that can help to answer those questions and work to get resolution. We also have a project hotline, and that hotline also has a text function on it. So that phone number is 720-306-9393. You can call and leave a message. It will also have a recorded new weekly update every week. So you can call and get information that way, leave us a message that gets checked on a daily basis, and we will reach back out to you. Again, you can also send a text to that project hotline number. Last way to kind of get information is going to our website. There's a bit.ly address here on the screen. It's bit.ly/JS Storm, and that would take you to the city's website. And on there, it has a specific site for our project. On that website, again, we will post our weekly updates. A copy of this public meeting will be placed on there. We will also, you can also access our email address and hotline from that website. And we will have an archive of all the old weekly updates available for people to peruse through to gain information. Okay, that's the bulk of the presentation. We can open up any questions that haven't already been answered. I'm looking into our question, our Q&A for this, and I'm not seeing that any have come in yet. So please, if you have any questions of anything that we haven't addressed. Here's a question I just see come in from Emily. Will the light timing be adjusted for the planned major detour, 17th Colorado, Colfax, Colorado? What are the planned traffic detours for Colorado? Even single lane closures will have significant impact, especially on top of the planned detour. How does this interact with the Colfax BRT project? Our detour, I'll start with light timing. Our detour is has been worked through and coordinated with our city traffic engineer department and also the departments that's in charge of light timing and sequencing. As of right now, their plan is to most all of these intersections we're talking about have the ability to be monitored remotely, and so those departments are going to, once we initiate the detour, kind of monitor, see how traffic is flowing, and work towards manipulating the light timing accordingly. It's a semi-difficult thing to do. You manipulate one light here, and it can have trickle-down effects at other locations further upstream of the traffic. But I guess our answer to that question is we are working currently and will continue to work with the other departments within the city to ensure that traffic is handled to the best that it can be, given the nature of closing a major arterial street like 14th Avenue. Traffic detours on Colorado Boulevard. If we do not actually physically close a street, there will be no detours placed. So I do understand that closing one lane on a 3-lane road like Colorado Boulevard will have traffic impacts, but there will not be, and that's a directive, not just of this project, but from the traffic engineering office in the city itself. There will not be posted detours for any single lane closures on Colorado Boulevard. And how does this interact with the Colfax BRT project? We are and will continue to be in communication with the BRT team. Our work will be done prior to the actual BRT project starting up. There are some pre-work items going on with BRT as far as getting utilities relocated in Colfax Avenue. One of the major ones is Denver Water has some work going on in Colfax. We are in close communication with Denver Water and the BRT team, working through the timing and the sequencing of both projects. Denver Water will have some work occurring during the 4-month closure of 14th Avenue on Colfax in between Josephine and Colorado Boulevard. They will have maintained 1 lane of traffic at all times in both directions during any of their work. We are working with them to make sure that their work maintains traffic flow on Colfax, and that aspect of it is the main reason why the detour route from the traffic engineer's office was mandated that we take it up to 17th Avenue and not Colfax. So Emily, I hope I at least addressed your question. If you have any follow-up questions to that, want to talk any of that through in greater detail, again, feel free to send an email to our project email address, and we can talk in greater detail, or just follow up with the question here. Okay, I see Emily send another message. Yes, I know there was some definitely some issues in the phase 1 during the closure of 14th Avenue. We're working to learn lessons from projects like that. Some of the other I kind of mentioned, we're reconstructing the Josephine 14th intersection to limit the number of vehicles that are making it through all the way beyond our it's called a soft closure at Josephine, where we neck things down. I know the nature of drivers is to just continue until they can't continue anymore, and they'll plan, and so the effort is to attempt to get as many people to detour at York and Josephine as possible, at Josephine and go up to 17th Avenue. Again, we're reconstructing that intersection to kind of limit go from allowing 3 lanes of traffic through to only allowing 1. What you'll see in that whole 12-15 block stretch until Jackson Street is we will have further signage and cones, installed traffic control devices to make it very apparent that there is we are serious, there's a closure ahead. We're also working with the DPD, Denver Police Department, to help us provide some of the mobile speeding enforcement photo radar vans in the area, where we are detecting people trying to find creative cut-throughs and cutting through the neighborhood streets. In addition, we're also working with our contractor to provide off-duty uniformed police officers strategically placed to help coordinate and control traffic that is not maybe necessarily following the detour signage and the advice to not proceed beyond Josephine unless you're local traffic. Okay, I'm going to wait a couple more minutes here for any other questions to come through. I'll just hang on here for a handful of more minutes. And I'll just mention again, we will place this recording, a version of this recording, on our website after this, and not a ton of questions have come in, but we will have a frequently asked question or question and answer sheet placed on our website as well. And maybe while we're at it here, in the Q&A, we can post our hotline email address and the address to the website again, in case anybody wasn't able to grab it. Ann or Nick, can you get that published here in the Q&A. Okay, I don't see any new questions coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting officially. I appreciate everybody's attendance at this meeting. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us with questions, comments, concerns. We are well aware that the constraints that a project like this brings to the traveling public and the neighborhood, and are not tone deaf to that, but we definitely want to work with everybody to the best of our abilities, knowing that we also have a major heavy civil construction project going on in and about a residential neighborhood. So as I said, please reach out to us, let us know. We don't necessarily see and think of everything, so if there's impacts that are occurring, please reach out and let us know. Thanks again for everybody attending, and have a good day. Thank you.